Hi guys, welcome to the Far Side of Normal podcast. My name is Stacy Farr, your creator and host. My sister's birthday was a few days ago, and for the last several weeks, maybe a month, I've had this topic on my brain, and I thought now is an excellent time to talk about it. This week's subject is going to be sibling rivalry to thrivery. And I know that's not a word, but just go with me. How many of us know or have been in the past in tension with our siblings? I want to discuss that this podcast and my experience and experience I've seen from others, and hopefully navigate the waters to bring people back together. Yeah, sibling rivalry it's big. And it doesn't matter if there's 2 or 20. Sometimes siblings are a challenge. And I know that growing up, there was, for the longest time, my sister and I. And then my little brother was kind of a surprise. And then there was 3, which is a magic number. But if anyone is a middle child, you'll understand my struggle. If anyone's an older child, you have a set of struggles. If you are a younger child, you have a different set of challenges. No matter where you fall in the line of siblings, sometimes there's going to be, you just won't get along. I'm just going to be real. And growing up, we were kind of forced proximity because, of course, you're siblings. But then growing up, we'll say underfunded, you didn't have the luxury of having your own bedroom or your own bathroom. We shared. And when you're younger, it's okay because you're kids. What do you know? You play with dolls, you fight over maybe a specific toy, and you carry on. When you're younger, it doesn't matter as much as the older you get. The challenges kind of present themselves. I know for me, growing up, it was me and my sister, like I said, for the first 7 years. And then my brother came along when I was 7 and my sister was 9. To go backwards a little bit, we're a year and 9 months apart, very close in age. We are literally night and day though. And we laugh because people know us, and if they know us, they think, how in the world are you guys so close? Because we're close now. And they think you guys are literally night and day. How does this even work? And it makes us laugh because it intrigues people. They also say we sound alike, which we don't think we do, but I guess apparently on the phone, we sound so similar that if you don't really know us, it's hard to distinguish who you're talking to. We don't see it because I guess we hear ourselves talk every day and she's my sister and we're not alike, but I guess we're similar. But I'll go backwards. Growing up, we were as close, I guess, as siblings could be when you're that age difference and you're kind of forced together. As we got older, there started to be I will say a quiet tension, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but then I chalk it up also to, it's just the typical thing that siblings go through. You fight over clothes, you maybe like the same boy, or maybe your sister's older and her friends want to go do something, but your mom says you have to let your little sister tag along. Things like that are common to, I guess, every sibling relationship. Well, mostly. But as the years went along, things kind of shifted. I will say, tension got stronger. The disagreements got more intense. The fighting got worse until honestly we weren't close at all in middle school or going into high school. I remember when I was in the 7th grade, the way our schools were in the state that we lived in, she finally went to high school and I was still in middle school. And I think that's where it kind of settled down. It was almost similar to a truce because we weren't seeing each other every day at school and then coming home and being forced together. But then I went to high school and It was definitely challenging. Here's why. Being an extreme introvert, my sister is on the far as you can get scale of extrovert. She was the popular girl. She was light skinned. She was cute. She was small. She had the hips, the booty that all the guys like, especially in the black community. She was the it girl. And I was the shy, dark, curvy, because I wasn't plus size, but at the time I thought I was, nerd girl that was her polar opposite and her little sister. I would go to my classes and I remember the teachers were like, oh, you're Tanya's little sister. Her friends, you're Tanya's little sister. The principal, you're Tanya's little sister. And that used to just wear on me because I thought, I have a name, one. And two, I'm more than Tanya's little sister. And on her side of the coin, she got compared to me in a different way. I am an extreme nerd and I love learning. So the honor roll, National Honor Society, straight A student, all of these things. And my sister is very intelligent. School is not her love or her passion. Why can't you be more like your sister? Oh, your sister ... with these grades. Your sister made straight A's. Your sister made the honor roll. Your sister made who's who in America, fill in the blanks. So coming at it from different sides of the coin, there was bound to be tension, and it is, and it was, and it's not so much anymore, but I remember at the time thinking, all I want to do is hang out with you and your friends. And it would be the hugest battle. Or my mom would make her take me and now my little brother along, and she would be fit to be tied. Which I understand because one, we're cramping your style. Two, we're going to tell. You just know your younger siblings, we're telling. If you do anything wrong, we're telling. But then also three, and it's not fair when I think about it, and I don't think parents understand the damage they do, but when you set your siblings up, or your children that are younger than your oldest, or any child, to spy, so to speak, on your other children, it creates division and it creates separatism. Having to report back, so to speak, to your mom to let her know what was going on is not a fun position to be in, number one. But two, it causes that division. And it's not, there's better ways to go about it, I guess. You do want to make sure that your children are taken care of. You do want to make sure that they're protected. You do want to know what's going on in their lives, but using your other children, probably not the best way to go about it. If my mom did the best she could, God love her, as a single mom with 3 children, she was doing the best she could. And it was in the 80s and 90s, so God save the queen. With that being said, it started to breed contempt. Over the years, as we were growing up, it got more and more difficult to be in a friendship with my sister. And at the time, I didn't know these things, but we had a long discussion, and I'll get to that in a moment. Until finally it kind of hit the fan, if you will. And things were said, not great things, and feelings were hurt, and my sister left the house, and she moved out, and she got married, and she moved away. That was a challenging time because now not only do you not have your sister, you don't really talk to her much, and she's married. So all 3 of those things in one fell swoop, and you feel left behind, or you feel like you were forgotten, or I won't even say abandoned, but where did she go? Why are we not hanging out? Why didn't you tell me you were getting married? All these things and feelings start coming up. Fast forward to I go off to college, and my mom and sister had this huge blow up, and I thought, what in the world? My family was just fractured. Long story short, my sophomore year, I thought, that's it. I've had enough of this foolishness, and we're going to knock this out right now. So what did my little poor college student self do? With my student loans, I paid for my sister to come out and my mom so we could have a come to Jesus talk. Now, if you're not in the Black community, a come to Jesus talks means everything's laid out, everything's on the table. We're knocking this junk out right now. Say what you have to say. You say what you have to say. We're clearing the air, or we're putting it all on the table. My sister came out and my mom came out. We'll just say it was interesting. We'll just say that. It was one of those, ooh, that didn't turn out the way I thought, but okay, amen. But the great thing that did come from it is my sister and I, because she stayed at my apartment, got the chance to have our Come to Jesus talk separate from our mom. Her and my mom had one, me and her had one, everybody kind of got together. The thing I learned that I want to kind of camp out on for a while is the comparison game. Unbeknownst to me, my mom was constantly comparing my sister to me. Why can't you be more like your sister? Why can't you have grades like your sister? Why can't you not be in trouble like your sister? Why can't you be ... like your sister? Fill in the blanks. I don't honestly think parents realize the damage they do when you compare and want one sibling to be like another. Or you make it seem as if one sibling is better than the other, even in their actions, maybe in their academics, maybe in their sports, whatever. It is so harmful. I cannot tell you how detrimental it is to your children, but also as siblings. The comparison game is deadly. And what I mean by that is it damages relationships in ways I didn't even know about it until I was in college. So we lost, I don't know how many years with this resentment built up that I had no clue about. We had our Come to Jesus talk and it hit the fan. And then other things were revealed. Jealousy. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? But the comparison breeds jealousy or envy or covetousness or whatever you want to call it, not good feelings. Learning this was surprising. It was eye-opening, but it was also heartbreaking at the same time. Because how many years did I miss having a sister as a best friend because of things that, one, I didn't know about, two, I had no control over, and three, that really didn't have to do with me, but someone's perception of me. That was a bitter pill to swallow. After that talk, though, we began repairing our friendship in little ways. I sometimes am not good with speaking, but I can write how I feel. I would send her letters or cards or gifts because that's my love language. She would call me when she was having a challenging time in her marriage. We slowly started rebuilding what was broken down that we didn't know about. It was also a great time to not necessarily confront, because I don't think that's the right word, but to kind of call my mom on, this is what you did by your actions and your words, and help her to realize, oh, maybe that wasn't the best thing to do. I think in her defense, she didn't have a great example of parenting, and she was not close with her siblings. Not as an excuse, but as I can see where she gets it from. Because you can only be what you see. And that hurt my heart for her. Over the years, though, I watched her be reconciled with some of her siblings, which made my soul sing because there's 9 of them. So it's not like there's 1 or 2, there's 9 of those jokers. It was encouraging to see her, even as she was dying from cancer, reach out to be reconciled and apologize. It was encouraging at her funeral that several of her siblings that were still alive came. I see the repercussions of poor parenting throughout generations. And again, I'm not blaming. You can only be what you see. And it made me realize that there's so many communities of people that hardly see great. Not even good, never mind great. I want to change that. And I'm trying to figure out how that works. The only thing that I know to do is to kind of herald my relationship with my sister now. And we do talk about our challenges and our differences. The great thing about God is He's gracious and He works all kinds of ways. We were in this thing called COVID in the year of our Lord 2020, and the world was on lockdown. And it seems weird to say this was a good thing, but a few years before that, my sister moved in with me. And it was just supposed to be for a few minutes for us to both kind of reset, kind of get our houses in order, and then we would go in peace. Well, God knows all, and He knew that we would need to be together for these next several years. 2018, I got off a plane and the bottom fell out. My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. It was literally the first week in December. We flew her to us from Texas, got a second opinion, and the bottom fell out. She was diagnosed, and yes, that was true. She had 4 to 6 months to live. She didn't want to do treatments, and we said amen. And she moved in with us and was at home hospice, where I didn't take on a project and was pretty much 95% of her caregiving, and then my sister the other 5 because she still worked. She passed away April 16th of 2019. We inhaled, and then here comes 2020 with COVID, where we had to shelter in place. That was one of the most challenging but also amazing times. Challenging because the world was on lockdown. There was a global timeout. It was a blessing because we were together. It strengthened and deepened our friendship. Our mother having cancer and us taking care of her at home in hospice with basically just me and then her. And once a week or twice a week, we'd have a caregiver come in from the hospice place. They say that trauma bonds people, or challenges bond people. It's true. When you go through things together, it makes you thick as thieves. And it solidified our friendship that we'd had been cultivating over the years. It was very interesting to see how we handled things differently, but at the end of the day, we still came together. I've been training my whole life to be in a lockdown. My sister, not so much. She was climbing walls. I was living the dream. I'm like, we get to be at home and we don't have to go anywhere, and we have to be. This is glorious. She was having none of it. But we figured out ways to help each other in that time of challenge and struggle. It was honestly, as bad as it sounds, some of the best times that we've had. We were able to get creative. I bought this giant blow-up pool, you guys, and we sheltered in place and we social distanced in our driveway in this giant pool that could fit 4 adults. We went to safaris in our car where we could feed animals. Don't trust the zebras because they're ghetto. We went to mini golf where literally there's two sections. One half had one family, the other half had us, and then there was two attendants out of the whole entire place. We got creative on how to let her get out of the house so that she wouldn't claw walls and also still be safe. Because of what we had gone through with my mom, we were able to help other people plan funerals because quite a lot of people passed away that we knew from COVID and from illnesses. We were able to be there for people and comfort people whose moms had passed away from cancer. It was also encouraging because of our friendship to see other people reach out to their siblings to try to be reconciled. One of the greatest things, and it always kind of makes me tear up, so I'm sorry if I tear up. One of her associates or acquaintances, I don't know what to call her, she said, "I love you and your sister's relationship. It's so beautiful, and it makes me miss my sister and want to try again." Until she did. And her sister are on the road to being reconciled because of my sister and I's relationship now. Had that been a decade ago or 2 decades ago, I am so grateful that we had to go through the challenges that we did, but I hope and pray so much that people won't have to. Parents, please be cautious. Your children are individuals. They're people. They have different personalities and different temperaments and different gifts and different capabilities. Don't pit them against each other. It doesn't make it I'm just going to say don't do that. It's going to cost you in the long run. It may make it easier for you to parent now, but it's going to cost you later. You may lose a child, not as in pass away, but they may not want anything to do with you. And for a while, that was my sister. For a while, that was my brother. And the child that's left feels guilty. They feel abandoned. They feel forsaken by their siblings. Don't do that. It takes work to be a parent to multiple children, especially as a single parent. I'm not downplaying the challenge, but you parent, don't make your children. Don't make them be the snitch. Yes, when things are dangerous. Yes, when they are doing things that could endanger them or harm them or that are illegal, by all means, but not report back to you because you don't have the energy or the willingness to be present or be available or be more involved. And again, I'm not doing shade. I'm just telling you from my experience, don't make your children your stunt doubles. Yep, we'll just leave it at that. The other great thing about rebuilding our relationship is, as adults, we know how our feelings are. We know what we're thinking and we are able to communicate them. Whereas before, when you are a teenager in your early 20s, your hormones are all over the place. Your thoughts are all over the place. You don't know how to articulate things. Now we can have arguments and disagreements and be okay. Whereas before, that would be the end of the world and it would implode and it'd be a bad day in America. But now we agree or we disagree and we're okay either way. She is still an extreme extrovert and I am still wanting to be at the house. And we did have some struggle when we lived together because she would want to party all the time. And I'm like, I don't want anybody in this house right now. Compromise, talking through things, explaining why you feel the way you feel, having conversations that are hard. When you said this, it hurt my feelings. When you did this, it hurt my feelings. When you took this, that made me mad. Having those conversations were easier because we had worked at and continue to work at maintaining our friendship. Now we go on holidays all the time. I traveled for my job before COVID. I would be in Arizona for 4 months, or Tennessee for 3, or over here in Texas for 2 weeks. So I would be all over the place. It was nothing for me to ask my company, okay, if I don't fly home, can I fly someone out to me? They were like, sure. Either way, as long as you're within this certain budget, I'd fly my sister out and we'd have the grandest adventures. We've been to Arizona. We stayed at the Ritz-Carlton. Because I traveled so much, I have platinum elite status or whatever with Marriott, which she thinks is grand because I'm over here slaving to get those points and rewards and status. And she just breezes and thinks it's great because you get greeted with champagne and you get upgraded to VIP concierge level and you get rooms with views and all of this stuff. And of course, it's free because I worked so hard and stayed for so long that I've accumulated all these points and stays. But it's been super fun. You'll see us in the Isle of Palm, or we are just we went to Anderson, South Carolina, home of Chadwick Boseman. Oh, it was so glorious. We stayed in a hotel where President Obama and his wife stayed before their inauguration. What is this like? My sister's slick. What she does now is she'll send me the most raggedy hotel and be like, I'm thinking of staying here. What do you think? And I'm thinking, really? No. I'm bougie about safety because I grew up in some not so great places. So I'm extremely meticulous when it comes to places I will live in my house. So of course she knows this. She'll send me this hotel and inevitably I'll be like, give me a minute. Click, click, clickety, click. All right, go here, check in under this. Here's this information and you're all set. And she'll call me, woo, this is nice. You're going to owe me for this. I'm going to start making you stay in these raggedy places. But I love that she knows me now, whereas before, not so much. Here's my advice if you are having a challenging time with your siblings as adults. A couple things I've learned over these last several years. 1, life is short. 2, people come and go, but your siblings have been with you since birth. Hopefully they'll be with you from the cradle to the grave. 3, if not now, when? And 4, whatever you guys have that is keeping you apart, is it really worth losing your connection to your sibling? I don't know what they did. I don't know what you did. I don't know how long it's been. But I would caution to think long and hard before writing them off permanently. I am so grateful that I have my sister in my life. Her birthday was a few days ago. I am still recovering from COVID, full disclosure. And I felt like death chewing on a biscuit, but I was not about to let a day go by that I didn't celebrate my sister big. We went to an outdoor restaurant away from everyone. I gave her little gifts, bought her dinner. I told her she was expensive. And then I came home and went back to bed. I wasn't contagious, but I was still very well on my way to wanting to fall asleep at the table. I hope so much that your sibling rivalry turns into thrivery, where you reconnect with your siblings, you have the best memories, or you make new ones and start from scratch. I hope that your parents were grand and that you didn't have the struggles that I did with my sister because of things you didn't know that your parents did. I hope that people can look at you and think, I want that with my siblings, and that you're the example. Yeah. Thank you so much for hanging in there and watching this episode of the Far Side of Normal podcast. Sibling rivalry to thrivery. May you thrive.